Why is education such a tool in the hands of fascists? Because fascists all over the world, when you read about the history of fascism, when you read about fascist rulers the world over, you will see that the first thing fascists want to do is to control and suffocate academic curiosity, scientific temper, and what they want to do is to kill historical narratives. So the way they figure is, he who controls the past controls the future. So the first thing to do is to make sure that textbooks actually reflect a history that is not really true. So what are you trying to do? The propaganda machinery of the saffronization of education in India today is busy spewing false narratives of this mythical India, which is this glorified India. Then what do? You say that India was amazing, was glorified, a mythical India, and then it was looted. It was looted by this evil minority, which is now being demonized. So then all the time you are keeping young people and citizens in a constant state of agitation, because you're saying that there was this India which has been lost, and you actually have to go now and pick up arms to go back and fight with this invisible enemy all the time to try and reclaim the narrative. Do you get it? This is what's happening all the time. And this is exactly what the saffronization of education seeks to do today. Salman Rushdie in Midnight's Children had written, he says, children are the vessels into which adults pour their poison. This is something fascists realized very quickly. So all fascism begins in elementary schools, in textbooks, in classrooms, in examination halls, and in universities. I'm going to quote Adolf Hitler here, because Hitler realized very early on that if you can control education and educational institutes, you can rear and you can bring up obedient, non-questioning, non-dissenting, conforming citizens, which is exactly what the BJP and the central government want to do in India today. If you say you're a dissenter, you're a terrorist. If you raise your voice, you put the UAPA or a sedition case under you, lock you up, throw away the key. There is absolutely a complete breakdown of any kind of constitutional machinery. What did Hitler say? He says, the boys and girls that enter our organization, what he meant was the Nazi party, they enter at 10 years of age. And for 4 years, they're part of the young folk. Then they go on to the Hitler Youth, where we have them for another 4 years. And even then, if they're not still complete National Socialists, they go to labor service. And then, of course, then they go into the army. So what you have as a result? You have a brainwashed individual that completely believes the propaganda that the fascist party is spewing out. And that's what's happening today. Let me compare this with Modi ji's Gujarat in 2004. In class 8, students were being taught about the negative impact of Gandhiji's non-cooperation movement. And then there were chapters like Hitler, the Supremo, the internal achievements of Nazism in class 10 textbooks. This is in 2004 in Modi ji's Gujarat. I'm not making this up. I'm going to quote to you a line from this textbook. It says, Hitler lent dignity and prestige to the German government within a short time. He created the vast state of Greater Germany. He adopted the policy of opposition towards the Jewish people and advocated the supremacy of the German race. I mean, what we're talking about is the Holocaust here, where 6 million Jews were terminated. He constructed public buildings, provided irrigation, built railways. He instilled the spirit of adventure in the common people. Now, since 2014, India has seen a very similar trend in its educational institutions, which are really becoming branch offices of a ministry of propaganda. I've said this in Parliament, and this is no better forum to say this to you, so you can go and then, take it forward. All historical facts are rapidly being distorted and substituted with mythology. What do we mean by this? Plastic surgery was Ganesha's head being put. This was plastic surgery. Yeah? You have the Article 51A of the Constitution. It's a fundamental duty of every citizen to instill a scientific temperament, to have the spirit of inquiry. 2019, Indian Science Congress. What do we see there? We have somebody standing up and saying, questioning Einstein's theory of relativity and saying that the actual test tube babies were made in India thousands and thousands of years ago. This is happening in the Indian Science Congress. Can you believe this? In a country whose constitution says that the spirit of scientific temperament is a fundamental duty. So I'm going to actually point out just a few things, and it's spine-chilling to realize where the saffronization of education is telling us. In June 2017, BJP government in Rajasthan question, who gave the slogan of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas? During his Nepal visit, how did Modi assure Nepal? What was the contribution of Vinay Damodar Savarkar in this freedom struggle? As far as I knew, his contribution was sitting in a jail cell in Andaman and writing letters of forgiveness to the British. That's the last I knew of it. So now the new social textbooks, they've added on demonetization, they've added on Make in India, they've said non-vegetarian food is terrible for you. Niti Aayog, 16th Lok Sabha, and what have they taken out? Gandhi's assassination. The fact that Godse killed Gandhi is nowhere in the textbooks. Gujarat riots, 2002, not mentioned anywhere. Cow vigilantes, beef ban, Dadri lynching, nothing. What else is being taught? Demonetization is being taught as Kale Dhan ki Safai. In Hindi, this means cleaning up of black money. And this is being shown as some great cleansing movement in India that has brought people to some higher level. This is what is actually being taught in a class 12 textbook. Non-vegetarian food harms the body. Meat products have been eliminated from a long list of fat, protein, mineral salts, and it tells you what to eat, when to eat. Then we look at, Patanjali. Patanjali, as you know, is Baba Ramdev. Anyone remember Baba Ramdev? My sort of, last memory of him, which I can never erase from my mind, is him in a chunni, hiding himself in a chunni, in a shalwar kameez, and jumping off the stage in Delhi from the dharna and running off into some car to escape arrest. Do you remember that? Now, this man has obviously built some kind of multi-billion-dollar empire, and all the products keep getting thrown off FDA because it's got very high levels of lead and mercury and all of that. And so he says, eating Patanjali products encourages nationalism. It's part of a Swadeshi movement which increases love for nation and nationalism. Ever heard of that? August 2017, BJP ruled Maharashtra board. It removes the Mughals, the existence of the Mughals from the history books. The board revised history textbooks for class 8 and 9, removing all traces of the Mughals, focusing on the Maratha Empire founded by Shivaji. This is great. There's nothing wrong with focusing on Shivaji, but the Mughals are an integral part of our history. You can't change it. Good or bad, history is history. Facts are facts. So no mention of Razia Sultana, Muhammad bin Tughlaq. The Rupaya was the currency which was introduced by the Afghan invaders. No mention of that. What they mention in class 9 textbook is the Bofors scam and Indira Gandhi's emergency of 1975-1977. Okay? July 17, Rajasthan. This is hilarious. I couldn't believe it when I was reading it. Rajasthan University alters history. It said Maharana Pratap defeated Akbar in the Battle of Haldi Ghati. When I was reading this, I said, you've got to be joking, but it's true. Maharana Pratap defeated. I don't like the fact that Akbar defeated Maharana Pratap. I don't like 2 + 2 = 4. So I'm just going to say 2 + 2 = 5. And I'm going to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it till at least some people believe it. This is double speak. This is new speak. And this is again the Goebbels doctrine. If you repeat a lie often enough, it becomes the truth. March 2021, the UGC draft history syllabus is clearly indicative of saffronization. The UGC has come out with this draft undergraduate history syllabus, and a large body of teachers have said that saffronization and distortion of facts, playing up the Vedic period, playing up Hindu religious texts, and diminishing sort of the existence of Muslim rule. We're not saying Muslim rule is good or bad, but it's an integral part of our history. You can't wipe it away.